Hi everyone, we are going to do the part 2 of the sheriff that pew-pewed the judge. So we pulled cards in part 1 on the judge. We didn't get the devil card. Now if you've not seen the sacrifice video, the jabs, the sacrifice for entertainment purposes only, get over yourselves. I go on a little bit about part 1 in that, and it all ties into a sentence I said in that, so it's interesting. Go watch that video and you'll find that there's something I say that relates to this. So I was interested to see what cards we will get for the sheriff, right? The sheriff before the year of this happening and at the time of this happening. So let's see. Something else that I was getting is that something about changing the venue from one state to another might be beneficial. And I think normally defense do this, but I seem to get loads of confusion. Like I need to actually sit and just take 2 minutes to see if that would be in their favor. I'm not sure if the defense are actually filing or considering this. It doesn't seem to be an energy that's heavy on their side. And then when I think of that, I'm like, well, the prosecution might actually do that. That's why. Because if there's so much corruption, they're not going to want anything else to be brought in. And this is what I really worry about this case. The judge saying it needs to be isolated to Steins and Mullins, and everything else needs to have its own trial. Well, that's the problem. Steins was really haunted and really fearful. So even if they say about psychosis, etc., he'd lived this for a long time. In part 1, you'll see what I said in terms of fearful for his family, even if they say the judge was not in touch with the daughter, etc. But there was an 18 and below, at least one, that was taken advantage of, whether it was daughter or not. And you'll see in that part, I didn't directly ask if it was his daughter, but I did ask the question about the 18 or under. If I said over a minute ago, I meant under. So now I want to see Steins, but yeah, there's a bit of a mixed muzzled energy that I get with that. And now that you're talking, it's kind of like, well, the defense, it really depends on the judge, because I also feel there's a culture, and I don't know this, but I feel there's a close-knit culture in Kentucky where we can say so-and-so is a sod, a C word, a B word, but if someone from out of state or even further along, if Kentucky is big, like from the north or the west, said something then about our state or in our state, we won't accept it. It seems like it's quite a close-knit culture. And so, but by that, I wonder if the judge would have the same mind frame of trying not to allow so much corruption and news to be brought up and known. And so he'd try to mask it as much as he can. I think this needs to go to a higher court. I don't know if it's going to a higher court. Would that be a Supreme Court? Because it needs to really be impartial. But the defense need to be allowed to bring in what was, I say allegedly, paranoia, along with whatever else Steins was facing. And I think that's where it runs the risk. So I'm not sure if there will be a filing. And even though I thought it might be defense, I don't know, or usually, is it usually defense? I don't know if it's me thinking that it could have been for the defense, or it's usually defense that file for a state, but it's going to be the prosecution. And the defense, it could be two-tier. It can be no, let it be in this state, because there's so much corruption that needs to be brought to justice. Well, then it could be that, culturally they want to keep masking it, and this is about Steins and the judge. Everything else then a prosecutor needs to bring to the trial. And I think that's where it's not going to be in defense's favor. And a little bit unfair because all that has played into this. Well, according to, for entertainment purposes, according to me. So let's see Steins. Okay, firstly, a year prior to this, so leading up, he was on a good turn. You know, there was going for him. He was in balance. He was in a good place, right? He was in a good place at work, so maybe he was getting recognized. He got promoted, maybe. At the time of the event, I do think, and he, with this Knight of Cups, I do think he obviously feels like someone was approaching his boundary of a gesture to maybe someone within his personal remit. There's the personal remit. The Hermit is his personal space, and there's the Knight of Cups, and we get it again, a young gun. And then so that's at the time of it, right? He's clearly seen something online. He's seen something, it could be on that phone. He's seen some text. He's seen some communication. He's found some communication. I think he also tried to calm and simmer himself down as well. And that's when he decided probably to approach the judge to really get an answer. His overall relationship with the judge, we've got the Devil, we've got abuse of power is present, we've got the some recognition. So, firstly, recognizing the judge is the judge, but also I think this guy could have been promoted from whatever he was prior, recognized by the judge to get promoted or something like that. And that comes through. They did, there was a lot of communication with the judge. Like it seems like they were on talking terms, basically. But I also get here the communication that they had at the time here. I told you it was very critical on that way that was handled. In the first part, we got that. That part was really weird because I kept thinking, am I being authentic to spirit here, or am I just going with logic? But I was in like some kind of trance. I came out and I was like, what time of day is that? So it's really weird. And actually, you reminded me. I want to make sure that I look back and my eyes are not like going into. I'm not taking over or something. But I don't know how much is going to be true of what I wasn't channeling any of them, just reading on the energies. And here we get there was talks at the time, which we saw the recording of, and this is confirming what I said. It needed to be handled in a certain way. We've got a mother in the background, a woman in the background, and there's also a weighted burden here. So could this have been Steins' wife as well? I am also getting from Spirit that there is going to be I think there's going to be a bit of a waffle around the psychologist, but that's not what I wanted to say. The psychic assessment, basically, where I think defense are going to say they want theirs, but then prosecution, if they find it's not in their favor, they're going to say, we want ours. And so you might have two psychologists on the stand. I know that's not abnormal, but what I mean is you might see a bit of a shuffle at pre-hearings about we want this, no, we can't go with this, you know, as opposed to in the trial when you actually see it. In the last reading we got, there's definitely 2 women that can vouch for the corruption that was happening. There's 4 that are just choosing to stay away. They've moved on to their own lives. And I think there could be 1 in the background, and I don't know if this person could be someone who was living rough, so maybe they're ruggy, and so the person's no longer there, and I want to say female. And I also get one of these female out of the 2 or 3, let's say 3, the third if they're still living, but I do get like it could be one of the rough ones. I feel like her voice is held, like she's not able to talk right now. Let's see on this female that I'm thinking, can she talk right now? Is she bounded or something? Maybe there's a gag order that she can't talk, or maybe she's been told she can't go to the trial. There's something she can't talk. I see her like a blockage for one lady. I know there's one lady who I think has spoken or did speak prior. So this lady that I see that can't talk, is that right? She knows a lot as well. And even though she can't talk, she's observing everything. She's watching everything. And I feel like she knows quite a lot. Not only what happened to her, but look at all the things that she's got around her and all the observing. But she's not able to move or talk. And I wonder who this is going to end up being. Is there someone that could have vouched, a female, that might have passed away, or is a ruggy so doesn't remember, or something like that? Do I take this card? Yes. Yeah. So it looks like the lady was possibly involved with rugs, okay? And I do think there's someone who's passed away, and I get a confirmation that that is the case. So what else did I want to cover here? You know, this sheriff gives me Sag energy. He gives me like he needs the truth out there. So he would not have done this in the sense of he couldn't give an F about the cameras. Like, it wasn't like I need to set this up, someone else does it and I go on the run. It was too much pressure. And the thing that relieved him was also then captive him. I do hope that his daughter and his wife stand by him, even if they were going for a divorce, because I think in the beginning they were saying he was getting a divorce from his wife. That's why the judge was involved, something like that. But I don't know if anything came of that. But I do hope they stand by him. Obviously, like I've said, you can't just go vigilante into something. But I wish people would understand that the pressure of living in that and seeing that and then crossing into your own personal, and I keep saying personal boundary rather than daughter, etc. But there is underage. We've seen it in both readings, part 1 and part 2. And like I said, the communication, the judge was a bit, calm down, Mikey, or whatever he says. You know, you're having one of those, you're getting too paranoid, there's nothing there. Yet, you know, when you see something with your eyes and you've been haunted always, like the sleepless nights, that I wonder if my daughter will end up speaking to one of them, or they get to my daughter and then the wife, or, you know, that kind of stuff. And kind of a condescending, passive, narcissist kind of way, like always got his way with abuse of power. Knows Mickey has been a good guy to him, or a friend or something, and he lights a cigarette and he's just like, yeah, it's like it wound him up even more. I do feel that the sheriff is currently feeling quite sad, and again, he wouldn't have done it in the dark because he needed that judge to answer to what he was doing or done, and he didn't. So it's like it's not that he thought he was higher than justice, the sheriff, to take justice in his hands, but he could not see justice prevailing in this. And check part 1. So he went to confront him as a needs to an end, like on the situation. At the same time, in that situation, it would have turned very complex, where the judge would have twisted himself getting out of something and pinpointing something on Steins, which could have been very easy given the video to say, actually Steins is the ringmaster, or Steins did this, and get himself out of it, move on the opportunity he had. And so it was kind of complex. So I do get, interesting, I got my confirmation that a businessman, or, you know, someone quite wealthy, I'll call it a businessman, is also involved in this. So whether it's the swapping, I'll take her tonight, you take her tomorrow, that kind of stuff. But then as I saw my confirmation card, Spirit was like, remember you said, do you think Steins is a Sag? So I wonder if that's confirmation. I don't know what his what do you call it is, his birthday is. I wonder what solutions they could do in this sense. Maybe body cams around those the chambers, you know, the police or the bailiffs having body cams on them. The different state I get wavering energy on, and I do think there needs to be added tiers of auditing, not only like state, I don't know if it's then supreme, federal, but there needs to be auditing on these judges to be held accountable, you know. And that camera in his chambers, it's interesting, I wanted to say dorm, needs to be checked, because I'm telling you from now, it has been switched on and off for fiascos. So the Steins at the time of doing this was quite heated. He did feel like a need to go in. This was the time, and there was an excessive amount of paranoia, which they're going to call a psychosis. So there was a slipping into some psychosis, and but the psychosis is justified by all the things the sheriff knew, and that was going on, and that was haunting him, and what was happening that caused the sheriff to do this. So he's paranoid. The reason I say this, because I said it in part 1, is you can get extremely paranoid. Like, for example, take me down this corridor because there's a camera, don't take me here, you'll kill me, etc. That's not coming to him. Disclaimer, entertainment purposes only. That's not coming from him from nothing and just a state of psychotic episodes. No, it's coming from hauntedness of everything he's seen that is actually true, and then that being building up, and with him being in his mind, but also then slipping into extreme paranoia, of a state of a bit of psychosis that is justified. Why I explained all that is that there's reason, there are tangible things that were happening. It's not that he's just seeing things or hearing things or just going on a vigilante. So we've got our confirmation there. How many daughters does he have? I get double confirmation. There is something with his daughter. I said, was his daughter, so if he's got more than one, was any of his daughters abused in any way by the judge? And this could be, the judge is an old elder, right? He shouldn't be sending messages like, you are sexy or whatever, or come to my chambers, and then maybe more action kind of stuff, or trying to get close to his daughter. Any form of power abuse or any kind of anything that comes under and we get double confirmation. I got 2 cards, both of them major arcana, and this takes me back to Steins, thinking about it in the evening, like trying to simmer. And here is Judge, and remember I said this card was pointing that it's entered into his personal space, and that's what's happened. So as much as I don't know if they're going to say no about his daughter, but there is, and so I hope they stand by their dad. So that's what we've got now. I don't know when the trial is. I definitely will be watching it, but if anything comes up for us to read on, please do let me know. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed part 1. And let me know in the comments. Take care, stay blessed, and bye for now.